Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, manhunt for convict who escaped from Supreme Court. The police are continuing their search for a prisoner who escaped from the Supreme Court on Thursday morning. The prisoner, Anthony Williams, jumped from the Supreme Court building and made his escape despite a police chase in downtown Kingston. The news was informed that shortly after 11 o'clock, Williams, who had been found guilty of possession of a firearm, was about to be sentenced when he dashed from the prisoner dock, ran through the corridor, past members of the force, and jumped from the second floor of the Supreme Court. It's believed that he injured himself. The news spoke with attorney Kimberly Whitaker, who was representing Williams on Thursday after his attorney withdrew from the case. She said that the court was engaged in a sentencing hearing when Williams escaped. "Mr. Williams, I am appealing for you to turn yourself into the police forthwith," the attorney pleaded. Williams, otherwise called Pops, was sentenced to 18 years in prison in his absence on Thursday. He was sentenced by Justice Callis Wilshire for illegal possession of firearm and assault at a common law. The 22-year-old, who is a resident of Almontown, Kingston, had been serving time in prison for a previous conviction. In April 2022, he was sentenced to over 12 years for illegal possession of a firearm and over 14 years for wounding with intent. Clarendon residents are still at hurricane shelter, given notice to leave. A handful of people who have been sheltering at the Rocky Point Community Center in Clarendon since Hurricane Beryl are scrambling to find a new accommodation after the facility was ordered closed by authorities. 9 adults and a baby have been living at the temporary shelter since the July 3 hurricane. A representative from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security told the group that they should vacate the facility on November 1. But shelter manager Althea Brown says some people have requested additional time to get their affairs in order, and a short extension has since been granted for them to leave by next Wednesday, November 6. She said some of the 10 people who remain at the shelter have managed to find alternative accommodation, but 3 others will still have nowhere to go. Ms. Brown explained that a representative from the Labor Ministry informed the group that support could be provided to those who need it over the next few months, including the offer of covering rent expenses. But she said there has been barely any word from elected officials.
Some person is begging for time to get their things together. So I spoke to her, I called her today, and I told her that based on the day that we were given tomorrow to leave, person still now start out them things. So they're asking if they could get a week. But she replied and said she's going to ask somebody who is in a meeting and get back to me. However, she get back and she said 3 days, so we have to leave by the latest Tuesday, Wednesday. And they will pay the rent for 3 months. In addition to that, after they sort out themselves, he would have given them something to eat them, like give them a start, but they have to go choose, apply, find what they want and get an invoice, and then come to the office. They sort them out and look what is it they want. So whether they want to raise chicken or whether they want to sell clothes or whatever.
Soldier suing state. Court finds no evidence in stolen car case. Army man says investigating officer malicious. Jamaica Defense Force corporal and his sibling, who were on Thursday freed by a parish court judge after no evidence could be found that they were party to a scheme in which they purchased a motor vehicle which was advertised as part of a migration deal, are now suing the cop who built the case against them, charging that he was malicious. The soldier, Fabian Mills, who purchased the vehicle, which was being sold for $850,000 for his younger sibling, Kellyanne, after seeing it advertised on several social media platforms in May this year, was jolted when 2 days after the transfer was completed, police tracked the vehicle to their home and advised them that it had been stolen. The transfer was completed on May 17 through the tax office, and the police came and seized it on the 19th of May. Attorney for the duo, Alexander Shaw, told the news on Thursday following the court ruling in the St. Catherine Parish Court. According to Shaw, Mills gave a statement to the police telling them how he came by the vehicle. He said following further investigation, the seller, Warren Hanson, was arrested and pleaded guilty to selling a rented vehicle. He was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment in July this year. Shaw said Mills, who faithfully attended those hearings expecting to get his money back, and was told by the police that he was okay and that the matter was finished. However, in September this year, while aboard an aircraft at Norman Manley International Airport, destined for the United States to join his spouse to celebrate their anniversary, Mills was unceremoniously removed from the flight and grilled. The corporal and his sibling, a business operator, were both charged for receiving stolen property and the conspiracy to receive stolen property at a common law. Mills was locked up for 8 days at a Greater Portmore station in St. Catherine before he was granted bail by the court. His sister, however, was granted station bail and escaped being incarcerated. When the matter was called up Thursday in the St. Catherine Parish Court for a third hearing, sitting Judge Justice Yvette Wentworth Miller discharged the two after the prosecution said it could not prove that Mills had the knowledge that the vehicle was stolen or that he even conspired. Receiving stolen property means you have to know the property is stolen, so they couldn't prove that. And based on the very fact of how we came to know about this vehicle, which was through an advertisement, and how we went through the normal process of paying for it and going through the tax office to get it transferred, there was no way he could have known the vehicle was stolen, their attorney told the news. According to the attorney, he had argued from the bail application that the Crown could not mount a successful prosecution, and the officer was just being malicious in preferring a charge against Mr. Mills and his sister, who did not know the seller before the transaction. Shaw told the news that the errant cop had been warned that the siblings would be bringing an action against him for false imprisonment for Mills and a malicious prosecution for both the defendants against him. I made a mention each time appearing before the court that the fact that the person who stole the vehicle pleaded guilty and was convicted and sentenced to 2 years, the matter was properly disposed of, and the sole resurrection of the matter was malicious. When they went to the tax office, the chassis number was not blocked. Ordinarily, when a vehicle is stolen and you want to interact with the vehicle any at all, whether through the stamp office or the motor vehicle examination depot, if your chassis number is blocked, you cannot renew the fitness or license and register the vehicle, and so there was no red light, nothing to indicate to them that the vehicle was stolen, and so for the officer to bring back the case, it was malicious, the attorney contended. Shaw, in lamenting the fact that his clients' lives were nearly wrecked because of an innocent purchase, said Mills did not get a chance to enjoy his vacation or his anniversary, and is not entitled to a vacation anytime soon. He was not even housed at the JDF, which is conventional for officers who are charged with a criminal offense. He was housed at the Greater Portmore Police Station with all the criminals. He was exposed to that, and prior to the matter going to court, his family information, his name, his photograph was publicized by bloggers. His character was tarnished because of this. He could have been added to the initial prosecution with Hanson because it was one event, motor vehicle stolen, motor vehicle sold, but he was never charged, which shows ineptitude, if not malice, the attorney said. According to Shaw, his client had cooperated fully and did not try to evade the police, all the while being deeply concerned and distressed about his tenure with the JDF. The soldier's sibling, speaking with the news on Thursday, said that the ordeal had been traumatizing. It affected me mentally. I had to close the business for a couple of days to go to court and to carry stuff to my brother at the prison, so I lost financially as well, the 25-year-old woman said, adding, it was stressful, very stressful. The army man, who said that the police were very unprofessional while he was in custody, told the news, they treated me like a criminal behind bars. They treated me worse than a dog. I was not given an opportunity to call my workplace or anything. It was traumatizing. The 29-year-old man said while he was happy that the court had ruled in his favor, he however could not shake the hurt over how the situation unfolded. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.